Welcome, everyone. Tonight, I'm here to take you on a journey through 12 terrifying true terror tales that will haunt your nights. These stories come from real eyewitness accounts, chilling encounters, and unexplainable experiences, each one more unsettling than the last. Before we dive in, I want to remind you that you can find even more spine-tingling stories, just like these on the Chilling app, where horror lovers gather to share their darkest secrets. Now, get comfortable, turn off the lights, and let's begin. Story 1. The Whispering Woods. I grew up near a dense forest that everyone in town called the Whispering Woods. People said if you listened closely on quiet nights, you could hear voices whispering your name. One autumn evening, I was camping with friends when those voices started. At first, it was subtle, almost like the wind rustling leaves. Then the whispers became clearer, directly calling me. Panic set in as I realized I was alone. My friends had wandered off. I tried calling out, but the voices answered back, mocking, urging me deeper into the trees. Suddenly, I stumbled upon a clearing where strange symbols were carved into the bark of every tree. The whispers grew louder, almost deafening. I ran, but the forest felt alive, branches grabbing at my clothes like desperate hands. When I finally broke free, I glanced back to see shapes moving just beyond the tree line, watching me. To this day, I never stepped foot near those woods after dark. Story 2. The Late Night Caller. My grandmother once told me about a time she was home alone when the phone rang after midnight. The voice on the other line was shaky but familiar. It was her daughter, who lived hundreds of miles away. "Mom, I'm in trouble. Someone's following me," she whispered. Grandma grabbed the phone, listening as her daughter described a man lurking outside her apartment. Just then, a shadow crossed the living room window behind Grandma. She froze, realizing the caller wasn't who she said she was. She hung up immediately and called the police. When officers arrived, they found footprints around the house and a man hiding in the bushes. Later, Grandma learned that her real daughter was safe at a friend's place, having never made that call. Who was on the line that night? The police never found out. Story 3. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. This one comes from a friend who drives long-haul trucks across the country. Late one foggy night, he picked up a young woman, dressed in an old-fashioned white dress at the edge of a small town. She gave him an address miles away and asked to be taken there. The ride was silent aside from her soft humming. When they reached the destination, he turned around to tell her they had arrived, only to find the back seat empty. A bewildered knock on the door brought an elderly man to answer. When the trucker asked about the woman, the man broke down, explaining his daughter had died in a car accident near that spot many years ago, always dressed in white. The next morning, the trucker found a small bouquet of flowers on his dashboard, wilted and cold. Whether she was ghost or mirage, he never picked up a hitchhiker again. Story 4. The Locked Basement. I'm a realtor, and this was one of the strangest properties I've ever dealt with. My client was eager to buy an old Victorian house, despite rumors it was haunted. When we toured the basement, the door was locked tight, and a previous owner warned not to enter. Curiosity got the best of me. One day, I found the key hidden under a loose floorboard upstairs. Inside the basement was a room sealed with heavy chains and padlocks. Through the small window, I could see old furniture covered in dust, and something else. Shadows moving. I called out cautiously, and for a brief moment, a faint whisper replied, "Why did you come here?" Shaken, I left and never returned. The house remains unsold, and locals avoid it, claiming anyone who enters never feels quite right again. Story 5. Emergency 911. A 911 operator shared a story about a call she received late at night. The caller was a woman who sounded terrified but kept whispering, "He's in the house." As the operator tried to keep her calm and get her address, screaming suddenly filled the line, then silence. Minutes later, police arrived at the scene to find the woman unharmed but hysterical, claiming a shadowy figure had vanished moments before officers entered. Surveillance footage showed a dark silhouette moving swiftly through the rooms, but no intruder was ever identified. The woman moved away shortly after, but the operator says that call still haunts her, especially the eerie silence that followed the scream. A story 6, The Doll's Eyes. A collector of antique dolls once told me about a specific doll he acquired from an estate sale. The doll's glassy eyes seemed to follow him no matter where he was. One night, while cleaning the doll, he heard faint giggling echoing through the room. At first he thought it was a joke, but the laughter grew, coming from the corner where the doll was sitting. The collector swears that the doll's mouth slightly opened to grin at him, revealing tiny teeth that weren't there before. Frightened, he boxed the doll up and stored it deep in his attic. Visitors claim they feel uneasy just stepping near that part of the house. Story 7, Apartment 13. A young woman moved into Apartment 13, despite the building manager's warnings that something was off about that unit. Almost immediately, strange noises plagued her nights, doors slamming, footsteps pacing, and cold drafts brushing past her. One night, she found a diary left behind by a previous tenant who chronicled experiences of being watched and shadow figures lurking in the hall. The entries ended abruptly with the tenant pleading for help. Terrified, the woman decided to move out before dawn. But on her last night, she glimpsed a figure standing at the foot of her bed, whispering, "You can never leave." The apartment sits empty now, walls stained by unexplained scratches. Story 8, The Silent Passenger. A taxi driver reported picking up a fare on a desolate road just outside the city. The passenger gave no destination but instead sat silently, staring straight ahead. During the ride, the driver glanced in the rearview mirror, noticing the passenger's face slowly morphing into a corpse-like visage. Panicked, he sped up, but the reflection remained. When he reached the supposed stop, there was no one in the back seat. The next day, the driver found out about a hitchhiker who had died on that very stretch of road months earlier. Since then, every time that driver picks up fares alone after dark, he double-checks the back seat. None are lurking. Story 9, The Handprint. A woman cleaning her child at home discovered a dirty handprint on the wall inside her closet. None of the family recalled being there before. Over the next few days, objects moved by themselves, and she heard breathing when no one was home. She decided to reach out to a paranormal investigator, who explained the handprint belonged to a young boy who had disappeared from that neighborhood decades ago. The investigator warned her to be careful, as restless spirits sometimes latch onto new occupants. One night, the woman awoke to a cold touch on her shoulder and a whisper, "Find me." Since then, she's been haunted by dreams of a lost child begging for freedom. Story 10, The Haunting Message. After a couple moved into their dream home, strange messages started appearing on their answering machine. The calls were static, but faint voices spoke phrases like "get out," "it's watching," and "forever trapped." One night, the husband recorded the background noise, only to hear footsteps pacing and the sound of chains dragging. They hired a technician who found nothing wrong with the phone. Panicked, they called a medium, who sensed a deep turmoil tied to the land, a tragic death buried beneath their foundation. Within weeks, the couple packed up and left, unable to stay under the oppressive presence. Story 11, The Shadow in the Mirror. A man shared a chilling experience about looking into his bathroom mirror late one night. As he brushed his teeth, the reflection behind him showed a dark silhouette standing still, even though no one was there. When he spun around, the room was empty. Night after night, the figure appeared, sometimes closer, sometimes sending a tapping noise against the glass. He began covering the mirror, but found himself compelled to uncover it again. On the final night, the reflection smiled maniacally, eyes glowing red, before vanishing forever, leaving behind an inexplicable chill. Story 12, The Final Alarm. A firefighter recounted his scariest call during a routine fire alarm in an abandoned building. Arriving with his team, they explored empty rooms lined with torn wallpaper and broken furniture. Suddenly, they heard urgent cries for help from below a collapsed floor. As they searched for the source, their radios crackled with voices that weren't theirs, pleading, Help me. No one was ever found, but every alarm they responded to in that district felt heavy with unseen watchers. The firefighter still has nights where he wakes up to the echoing calls for rescue, unsure if they were real or something far worse. These 12 true tales remind us of the thin line between the world we know and the unseen terrors that lurk just beyond our perception. Whether these stories find roots in tragedy, the supernatural, or our deepest fears, they urge us to stay vigilant and remind us, sometimes it's what we don't see that frightens us most. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out the Chilling app for more authentic horror tales to keep your nights eerie and endlessly suspenseful. Until next time, stay safe and keep your lights on.